Welcome to another episode of 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons Tomb of Annihilation, starring Kashcah as God.
It's about time it was played by the person of the right gender.
So, continuing with introductions, Kashcah is our GM, Games Master,
Good
Dungeon
day
Master
to you.
Extraordinaire.
Good day. I say good day.
And then moving around the circle, we go straight up from Kashcah, which she's down there, to Gao, an NPC. One of 3, I think, we have with us right now. We've got Gao, who is the king of the kobolds. And then we've got Orvex Akramas, who is a translator that we salvaged from some ruins.
Slightly recycled. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like little Final Fantasy finish the battle and oh look, in the loot you get a translator guy. Oh, can't I just get like 5 gil instead? But still, we got also Flippy, an axe-beak bird that we saved some time ago and has somehow survived along with us this entire time, and is also a famous pet of Lyssa. So moving on, Rorax, who is not able to join us today, but Nerevar is. Nerevar?
Yeah. What is it?
What you playing?
Oh, okay, I'm kidding. I'm playing as Tobias Salazar, a Spacial sorcerer who is commanding his idol on Arokh, Ironscale. And a little bit.
Indeed. He's doing good too. And he also runs a Twitch channel. Check him out, NerevarDZN. You should see the links down in the description if this is on YouTube, or just down below and like friends and such on the list on Twitch. And then next to Nerevar we have Kellisto.
Hi, I'm Kellisto of the Bear God Clan, and I play a half-elf druid.
Indeed you
That's
do. Was raised by wolves.
Yes.
And somehow
Has no social skills. Very naive.
This is why she made friends with Ulfgar. So speaking of naive people who somehow made friends with Ulfgar, next we have Lyssa.
Yeah, how he came about that, who knows? I didn't make backstory that far. I'm Valia Bonesmasher. I'm a Lizardfolk Barbarian that likes to eat whatever she can.
Yep.
Possibly a medium rare with red whisper.
Yep, pretty much if it's dead, it's fair game.
Yes.
And next to Lyssa, we've got myself. I'm Vallen. I play Ulfgar Holderheck, a dwarven Valor bard / divine sorcerer. Let's start off with the recap of what happened last time. Let me bring up the quest log, because this is going to be a little bit weird here. So, last time we ended where we were traveling to, let me scroll this little water temple up here in the north area of the city. And our way was barred by a gigantic crocodile who was interested in feasting upon our entrails. We said no, and the crocodile said okay and swam away. Of course, we said no in the shape of lightning bolts. So, upon exploring the temple, we found the most obscure Dungeons & Dragons puzzle ever, which Kashcah and a lot of good rolls later were able to help us get through this puzzle and obtain a puzzle cube. Moving on from there, we traveled southeast along this little red line here via Kellisto's special water walk spell. And then upon getting onto shore, we were trying to get to this temple, but we found that it was pretty much covered with grungs, these little dudes here in the corner that are very poisonous and have really kicked our butts in the past. So we did not want to mess with them. We just wanted to rest. But they caught sight of us, even with the help of Kellisto's cloaking spells. And so we proceeded to try and escape with cloaking spells still going. and we took shelter in a nearby ruin, of which we thought we might have eluded them, but they were like searching the area around where we were. We were worried that we were going to be detected, so we started to move up in the ruin to a higher floor, and instead we found on the stairway a very injured red wizard, of which we have not exactly had the best of relations with red wizards in the past, though they were the previous employers of Orvex. The one we ran into previously was very selfish and also really, really eager to fireball the party. So there's a concern. And that's where we ended last episode. So, Kashcah.
Indeed. Okay,
take it
so
away.
so I'm going to move you over to, I have a fairly crudely prepared, I think this is the right one, map of the building that you've entered. It's it's charming. It's lovely. So I've left folks outside here. You can see the map, hopefully. So I've left you guys outside here because I'm not sure like where you would want to be. So you're definitely in this room somewhere, but I wanted you to be able to kind of position yourselves, except for Ulfgar, who was the one like busting through and spotting the red wizard. I know exactly where Ulfgar is. Orvex is going to kind of stay in this little foyer area, along with Aelia. So to describe what happens, these brown bits, right, like the brown straight lines represent doors, and these grey straight lines represent windows, right? And then everything else is walls, right? So you come across this building and there's two double doors on the exterior, and one of them is kind of ajar and you're able to push it open and bust a move into the building, right? Then you kind of broke through, there was this door here, it's just piled, there's just junk and dirt and refuse kind of piled against it, like just, you know, decades worth of leaves, and you know, it's just that door wasn't happening. Luckily the wall is broken right here, so guys were able to kind of sneak through into this room here.
Hope it wasn't a load-bearing wall.
And you see there's a giant pile of more junk and refuse, and yep, just decades worth of crap being blown in the building. And there's a couple of windows that are boarded up actually. There you can see there's shafts of kind of daylight, or actually no there isn't, but there's kind of little skinny, you know, slots in between the boards on the window, so you can like sneak peeks out through there, you think, if you wanted to. But Ulfgar did kind of, there's the door slightly ajar where Ulfgar is standing, and Ulfgar kind of pushed it further open and saw that there is more junk in the corner over here, and then stairs that are kind of in an L shape going up, right? So this flight of stairs goes up and then turns to the right and keeps going. And part way up is where you see this figure. I described them last time as a man, but actually you're not, I would say that you're not sure of the gender yet because you have not got close enough. So but they are kind of slumped on the stairs and cloaked. They have the classic kind of red wizard cloak on. But you definitely are all in the building somewhere, because there are grung running around, kind of, you hear them periodically running past the windows and whatnot. So you're definitely all in there somewhere. What I need you to do is kind of place your token somewhere in this room where you would be.
Except me.
Tobias, you wouldn't have come further into the building, or?
Not yet.
Okay. Right. So Orvex is kind of going to squeeze through here, and he's going to kind of go and he's taking cover. He hears Ulfgar saying, you know, come on, let's take cover in here, or whatever it was you said
Opens the
last.
door and then says,
shit. In Dwarvish. Okay, so over to you then. I've set the scene. It is quite dark in here, by the way.
He says
as well.
frack. There you go. That's his dwarven swear word, frack.
Yeah, because it is nighttime now. So it is dark in here. All right, over to you.
So Ulfgar opens the door and says, "Come on, let's go upstairs so that we'll stay out of sight." And he opens the door and frack, and he starts like backing up and starting to close the door as he sees the red wizard there, realizing that could potentially mean fire to the face. But he starts trying to back up and pull the door closed in the process. He's obviously seen by this guy.
So you will hear kind of it's big hood over the face, over the head, you know, and you will see like an arm go up, and you hear kind of a feeble voice saying, "Wait, don't go yet," and they're kind of reaching out like towards you.
Ulfgar just like starts looking over himself as if, is he casting a spell on me? Is he making me? Is he holding cast hold person or something? He says, "Don't shoot me. Just keep your magics to yourself."
He says, "You have they say, sorry, you have nothing to fear, dwarf. I do not mean you any harm. I am barely in state to hold myself together."
He says, "Keep your voice down. We're being pursued."
They say, "The grung?"
Yes. And Ulfgar kind of then starts opening the door a little bit more. Does he see any others in the room, or is it just the one guy?
Just the one person.
Is it obvious how he's injured?
You do see kind of perhaps some blood on their robes.
You say they, but I've only seen the one.
Right, I'm
gender
neutral at the moment.
Gotcha, gender neutral they. Got
it. So you see some blood on their robes. Maybe some vomit as well, but that's all you see.
All right. Excuse me. Ulfgar opens the door further then and proceeds to walk in, holding the door and waving people in, saying, "Quick, come in, spread out." And he's trying to get everybody to come inside.
And there's just enough light to see, right? So that Valia can see.
Oh, right. I always forget about that.
Because I wouldn't want to... I mean, because I would think to light a torch, but at the same time I wouldn't want the grungs to see it, so...
Right. It is daytime, and she said that there are some...
It's not daytime.
Oh, it's not. Oh, you're right. It was sunset.
Yeah. The sun is pretty much set now. There's very little light outside, so there's very, very little light in here.
We'd hate to, for Valia to not see who she's munching on.
Ulfgar would like kind of pull Valia's arm in and say, "Quick, come behind the door here. There's a wizard chap over there on the stairs, but stay quiet. We can't risk lighting up." And he kind of pulls you over to this side for the moment, trying to direct you to a wall.
And it's only Valia that can't see, right?
No. Tobias would not be able to see. Aelia would not be able to see.
But they didn't come through the wall with us, so I'm just trying to decide whether I would go back to get them.
Ulfgar says, "Go back and get the rest of those and help them come through the room if they can't see well."
Okay. So I will go back through the wall.
Okay.
Let them know that they can follow me. Everyone hold hands and follow me through the dark, and I will lead you into the room that we're going to stay in tonight.
Meanwhile, Ulfgar picks up a pebble from the ground. Is there a pebble?
Yeah, there's tons of junk on the floor.
Okay, he just picks up a pebble, and he's still got hold of Valia's arm, and he grabs her hand and turns it over, puts the pebble in her hand, curls her fingers over it, and he casts the light spell on it and says, "You can use this to try and give yourself a dim light for now, but try to keep it covered."
So yeah, this kind of lights up dimly, and you do notice, conveniently, in this room there are no windows.
But there's a door.
There is a door.
And stairs!
And stairs.
Yay! Is there light coming from upstairs?
No.
Okay. So then Ulfgar just waits and says, "Who are you? Are there more of you up there?"
They say, no, I am alone. How many are there of you? There's a definite tone of concern in their voice.
Ulfgar starts trying to like count in his head real quick. He says, "I don't know."
I just grab his arm before he says something, and I just shake him like, "No, there's only 3 of us."
There's enough. I always lose track.
In the meantime, I've hopefully led everyone into the room.
Orvex would eagerly take your hand, and Aelia says, I'll go last because I think it's going to be a squeeze for me to get through this gap.
Ulfgar kind of like gives Valia a little bit of a tug and says, "Let's go check on this chap and see if he's alright. We're gonna approach, okay?"
They say,
okay.
They say, "I have no choice but to trust you."
Alright.
Okay.
You look like you've been injured. What happened?
It says, well, it's a long story, Dwarf. But needless to say, the grungs got the better of me at the end. And they kind of peel back their hood, and you see actually what you thought was a man, boom, 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 is somebody with very female, like a very feminine face, but they have their head completely shaved. But they have kind of a slight figure, so you think, what you take him for a man might be a woman.
Like human?
Yeah, still human.
Okay.
So when Kellisto, are you going through or?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm hopefully leading everyone.
Okay. Yeah, Orvex will come in and sees the person on the stairs and says, "Zigmira, you're alive."
Hush, keep your voice down, you.
Oh, sorry. Zigmira,
Stage whispers only.
Tobias, Aelia is kind of standing there looking at you, waiting to see if you're gonna go through the gap. Yes?
Are you following me, Tobias?
Segvir.
I'm sure Flippy would have followed.
Okay. Then Aelia and Gao kind of squeeze through. Oh, I didn't mean to ping. Sorry about that. Squeeze through, and kind of Aelia will make her way over to the door.
No, I'm like, so you know this person? I'll ask Korvac.
She'll come in. Orvex says, "Yes, this is my employer." Zigmira says, "Orvex, how did you survive that fight?"
Well, technically he didn't. We uncovered him from a bunch of rubble.
Yeah, he was pretty squished.
How's
I was
your
going
injury?
to eat him, but they wouldn't let me.
See, the eyes for just the briefest of seconds kind of widen.
She says that about everybody. I mean, she likes you. So, have you been injured? I see some blood on your robes.
It says, "Yes, I have they say, I have a small wound, but mostly it was just a poison."
Oh.
Yeah, I've had that happen to me too.
I can't do much about the poison, but I might be able to heal you a bit. And Ulfgar says, the healing word, level 1, just to give a little bit. I'll roll it in a second here, but continue on. we're at level 1. 8 healing. Ooh.
He says thank you. They say thank you.
Maximum healage.
Much appreciated.
Blech. I forgot I don't have that many spells.
In the meantime, I close the door and light up a torch.
They say, there are, I may be a little under the weather, but I can still count.
That's all right. She can't. as he points over at Valia.
I just hate my head. It's like, yeah, we just needed to make sure you weren't going to attack us all first. That's all.
Oh, this is okay. I understand.
And Ulfgar says, I don't know if it's a good idea to light that torch. Valia's got her hand round this light stone right now, so...
I'm just going to hold it up in the air, see?
Alright, so I'll put it out. I just kind of look at him, like, fine.
I just hold the light stone in the air. I'm like, see, I got this.
He's like, stop it. We're trying to lay low here. Is there...
I'm just, like, cupping my hand over it, making shadows. It's like, now you see me, now you don't. Now you don't.
Ulfgar talks to the feminine figure and or feminine red wizard, I guess. Zafira?
Zagmira.
Says, Zagmira, is it safer upstairs? Is that where you were going?
They say, honestly, I don't know. I didn't make it that far.
I'm gonna be like, if you don't mind, I'm gonna squeeze past you and see what I can see up those stairs.
Zagmira says, be my guest, and kind of they push themselves to their feet and start to kind of take some, as you go up, Zagmira makes their way down.
I'll tell Flippy, come over here and let this person lean on you, help them down.
That's very kind. Okay.
So Ulfgar says, where's the rest of your party?
I am the only one left aside from Orvex over there. Orvex, you are a wonder.
He was lucky is what he was. Can't
I
really
whisper
say
down,
the same
I'm like,
about
how
the rest
did you escape the snake people?
How did you escape? It seemed to be a slaughter.
Yeah. And I'm creeping up the stairs like one at a time while they're talking.
They say it was clear that battle was not going to be won, so I had to put my mission above the lives of those mercenaries.
Right. What about the rest of the red wizards?
I have not seen any for at least 2 days. If there are any others alive, then I do not know of them.
What are you doing in this city?
Says I could ask you the same thing. This is a very unlikely group that you've got here. Orvex, how did you come across them? Especially this kobold here. Looks at Gao.
Says, oh, you leave Gao alone. He's a friendly enough chap.
Gao stands there.
So in case you hadn't already noticed, we're quite a diverse group here. Cultural differences are not a problem. We came, and he kind of interrupts Orvex if he starts talking and says, we came ideally in search of a necromancer, found our way throughout the city, and came under attack by several different forces so far. Ulfgar is just kind of like eyeing Zagmira. He'd like to make a insight check to see if so far she's been telling the truth.
Okay. Yeah.
Or he believes that she is or not.
Yeah, Zagmira says, what business would you have with a necromancer?
I'm gonna eat it.
The kind where we put it down.
Then our journeys are aligned. Zagmira says, so hang on, upstairs though, Valia, you see there's a long, narrow room that has like a couple of doors at the opposite end from you. It does have some windows, but again, they're boarded up.
Okay, I'm gonna come back down on this bottom landing right here, and I'm just gonna post up right there with my weapon, my hand on my weapon. I'm just gonna say, so far I don't see anything. It's very dark, lots of rooms, windows are boarded. I'm just gonna hang out here in case anything comes. So I just motion everybody continue on.
You make a good chandelier.
I'm just holding the stone in the air, just waving it around.
Start writing your name.
Yeah.
So, Ulfgar, you were
You
gonna...
ever heard of these things called rave?
Oy. So, Ulfgar encourages Zagmira to try and continue more, and I don't know what.
Sorry, the insight check.
Yeah.
So what are you trying to find? Like if
Ulfgar believes she's telling the truth.
Yes, Ulfgar does believe that what she said is truthful.
Okay.
But Zagmira had asked what business you had with the necromancer.
We believe this necromancer is, besides resurrecting the dead in the area and causing no end of trouble, is also responsible for, I keep wanting to say the Ironmonger. I can't remember. That's stuck in my head. What the what monger? Soulmonger. Oh my god. Okay, we're here. We believe that the necromancer here, Raz Nasi, is responsible for the Soulmonger's use against those that have been resurrected before, and that failing them now, causing a terrible disease across the land. And what have you come for? And sacrificed so much.
Zagmira says, our goals are exactly aligned.
How did you come to learn of it?
I say, well, I am part of a larger organization. And powers within that organization have discovered the Soulmonger as well. But I think you are confused on one point, Dwarf.
Ulfgar looks up at Valia and says, not a word.
I just shrug my shoulders. Wouldn't be the first time you're
yeah.
Zagmira says, while the necromancer here is certainly troublesome, they are not responsible for the Soulmonger.
Well, they may still have possession of it. Besides, it's our best lead for finding the Soulmonger so far.
Unless, of course, you have something more to tell us.
And he says, forgive me. Sorry for those that are watching. Our view has just shifted slightly. I will be rearranging that.
Dramatic entrance.
Boom.
We're just getting into the interesting stuff. So,
Oh, good. I intended to miss all the boring stuff, of course.
So for those that don't know, Rorax has just joined us. So there you go. Yay! Okay. Yeah, this is going to take me a few minutes to sort out the images, but continue on, people.
So, Zagmira says, wait, can you say your question one more time, Kellisto? Sorry.
I said, unless you have something more to tell us. Or something like that. Basically, I was trying to get more information out of her.
Mm-hmm. She says, the soulmonger is held by a much more powerful being than the necromancer. Says, but
of course.
She says, if you agree to work with me, then I'll share the rest of my knowledge with you.
I just look and I'm like, do we really? I look at everybody. I'm like, we really don't have a choice at this point. To be fair.
We need a bigger army, apparently.
Yeah, and we're still looking for our friends. You haven't happened to see two weird, say humans. One weird human and one weird dragon-y looking guy come through. Smells of different things.
She said, well, I didn't get close enough to smell them. But
oh, you don't have to get close to that guy to smell him.
But I did see the Yuan-Ti take some prisoners a few days ago.
Oh, crap. I just led the babies in there. Well, we may not have any more artists in Dragon Bait.
And
sorry, guys.
It dawns on Ulfgar what they just said. You mean the snake people might have this man and dragon man hostage in the underground?
I'm like, not no more.
Ulfgar suddenly looks very panicked and is like, we've got to go. We've got to go now. Wait a minute. Why would he know? Ulfgar doesn't know. Ulfgar wouldn't be panicking at all.
Wait, why wouldn't Ulfgar be panicking?
Did Valia say anything about what she did with the crocodiles?
I just said I let the babies down in a hole for lizard men, for snake men.
Zagmira says, a hole? What hole are you talking about?
Some random hole that, look like lizard folk come out, or snake folk come out of, because, they're gross looking. And we saw two guys hanging out close to that area, so I just assumed that's where they were, and I just let a bunch of baby crocs down there to eat. So
you see a look on Zagmira's face, like she is shocked that you know something that she does not. And she's really kind of she's almost taken aback by this. It's like she's trying to figure out how she doesn't know this.
You know what? That they're coming from an underground passage, or?
I don't know. Are you gonna ask her?
You seem confused.
Yeah. I'm like, what's so shocking? We just,
She says, I did not know there was a second entrance.
I'm sorry, there's a first?
We thought that was the only entrance. We found an opening in the middle of the circles of the area of the city.
She says, I think you missed one. There's a much more there's one that is not hidden, and definitely not a hole in the ground. There's a little further into the palace, the old palace area.
Right, the old palace area. Wait, where's the old palace?
This was definitely on the outer ring.
Okay.
In amongst some bushes and trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zagmira looks completely I did not know that was there. How did these weirdos figure out that this was here and I didn't?
We've got to save our friends, Ulfgar says as he looks over at Zagmira to see what her response is.
Zagmira says, or she just kind of
or her reaction, rather.
Yeah, she's just kind of looking at you slightly puzzled, but just she's waiting.
Says, I don't think that we're in the best of condition, but I don't think that we've got a choice. Who's in favor of saving Artis and Dragonbait now? And Ulfgar holds his hand up.
We don't know it's them. We don't know that they're going to the same place. I'm sure we can wait a morning.
There are very peculiar individuals that's wandering this place.
As much as them being captive is one worry, having a bunch of crocodiles led in there to eat them is another worry.
You said they're babies, right? They're just gonna nibble at them.
Babies in comparison to the mother.
Yeah, they were. Well, yeah.
Ulfgar, do you really think Arthas would be foolish enough to get captured by Yuanti? He
Yes.
single-handedly defeated the T-Rex, so
Yes.
I beg to differ.
Just gave him a punch.
Ulfgar says, he seems a bit soft-headed sometimes.
Hardest punch.
A man who'd, I don't know, sacrifice things that he shouldn't.
But he told us that he knew Omu very well.
That may be true. But it could also be that these are two other people that are also in need of rescue. And Ulfgar looks over at you and says, I remember running across a certain someone else who seemed to be captured before, who seems more than capable of escape.
Ooh. Ulfgar's thrown down.
That's all okay.
I'm just like, oh, I wouldn't have even said that.
Ulfgar says,
well,
come
all
on,
in all,
we can take them.
we can just write them off. Let's continue on our journey. I'm sure they will be able to handle some choppy crap.
Okay, Tobias is pointing at Zagmira. Do you know what's deep down those holes?
Crocodiles.
She kind of looks and she's like, she says, pretty sure that's Rasnasi's, and the Yuanti's, like a temple. She says it's where they live. It's their whole thing, you know.
Wait, you're saying that Rasnasi and the Yuanti are in cahoots together?
She says, oh yes. She says, hang on a second. Before I share anything else, are we working together?
You didn't actually specify what you want us to do for you.
She says, we have a common goal of obtaining the Soulmonger.
Aye.
She says, I have some relevant materials and I can show you where the rest are that you'll need in order to access the tomb where the Soulmonger lies.
Well, we have the same goal, but do we have the same end?
She says, that remains to be seen, but I still think we're better off working together.
Ulfgar says, well, you'll forgive me for being so blunt, but it looks like you could really use our help a lot more than we could use yours.
She says, it's true, there's just one of me and more than 3 of you, but I do have some leverage that you're not aware of. Like I said, some essential materials to access the tomb where the Soulmonger lies. If you want to access it, you will need my help.
So why negotiate? Why not just join with us?
She says, for the same reason that you don't 100% trust me. If I tell you all of my knowledge and give over what you need, how do I know you won't just kill me?
You are much more docile than your than one of your group that we met earlier.
And she looks really quizzically at you, Tobias, and says, Who did you meet?
One of the red wizards, I assume. He was in one of the temples.
We found a
He
man
wasn't
that had been
very-
stoned.
Yes, and he wasn't very eager to cooperate in any way, shape, or form.
He attacked and nearly killed us.
Well, we don't know that he wasn't eager to cooperate. Scared, maybe. Reacted in paranoia, maybe.
Aye, but ambush, backstabbing, fireballing.
That came later, if you'll remember.
Only after he threatened us all. Ulfgar is very selective.
And someone reacted very badly to that.
That may be, but also in a protective nature. I guess what we're saying is we've run into one of your friends before, and they didn't seem very willing to cooperate in the past. In fact, they were very screechy at the beginning.
Very screechy.
Especially after we had untransformed them from being turned to stone. Not very happy about the whole ordeal.
Zagmira kind of like raises an eyebrow at that, and says, not all of my colleagues are as level-headed as I am. She says, it's unfortunate, she says, but at this point, I think it's obvious to me that we need each other.
Excuse me.
I agree. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't
Ulfgar
bring her along.
Ulfgar was doing another insight to see if he really thinks that he needs her, because so far the only way that he knows this is because she says so.
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough to tell. You're trying to see if you think she's telling the truth. Is
Yeah.
that? It appears that she's being honest so far. What she's shared with you, appears to be done, in honesty.
Ulfgar, what's the name of that sorceress friend of yours?
Valindra.
I might have missed it, but did we ask Zagmira about Valindra?
Zagmira, did we ask you about Valindra?
Oh, that crazy lady. Oh,
She was a special one.
crazy.
You higher up wizards all know each other, don't you? It's something that happens with wizards, isn't it?
Zagmira says, I do know Valindra, yes. She accompanied us to Chult and set up base in the heart of Uptow. She says,
Great.
I share this with you in a display of my honesty.
We're currently in contract with Valindra as it is.
You're in contract?
Not contract, sorry, for wordage.
She's like, what?
We're working with Valindra as it is.
She says, then we are already allied.
Then there's no issue. Come on then.
Agreed. Says, but
Would Valindra want anything in particular with a whole lot of people?
Zagmira says, I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Ooh, I think I lost you.
Oh, you there?
Hello?
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 Okay, I hear you.
Okay.
What was your response? I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. Oh, Discord is like...
That was me. Sorry.
Okay, alright. Okay.
Switch to Singapore.
She says, I'm not sure what you mean by that. A whole bunch of people? Says she's in the
Aelia
middle of the
just waves
jungle.
her hand and... Well, as a wizard, would she want anything to do with a whole bunch of people?
Says, She says, as a wizard, she would not.
And Ulfgar says, obviously,
Okay.
she didn't sound very happy about the fact that we dumped a bunch on her.
Oh, you were just going to say that, Ulfgar? That's fine.
Yes.
Okay, either way,
Zagmara raises another eyebrow.
We saved a bunch of refugees and had no place to keep them. They weren't exactly going to last very long with the pace we were trying to keep. So we asked that she'd keep them safe, and she did.
Aelia folds her arms and says, "Listen, I've just been suspicious of Valendra ever since we met her, okay?
I don't see what you're talking about. She's got the best name there is.
She had a cage that had bones of people that she had in it. I mean, come on.
They weren't people,
Okay, you didn't go look at the bone.
says the person who eats people.
I mean, so I know what bones look like now, don't I?
Oh, if anyone's suspect, it's you.
Okay, enough rambling. Either way, we should report that we have found you, Zagmira. Ulfgar, do you have the stone, right?
I do. He pulls it out. He produces the stone. And
And excuse me for a moment. I'll try to get rid of the grunks.
you're going to what? I think we're doing all right as it is.
Tobias is closes his eyes. He looks very focused, and you going to hear a roar from the outside that probably comes from Arokh.
So Arokh,
Yeah, he's on the outer ring because he tried to lose the grunk, or
yeah,
just to keep the pursuit after him.
okay. So he's roaring at them to get their attention.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he's going to gather the attention of the grunks.
Okay. So Arokh, so let's look at Arokh's view for just a moment. So Arokh is kind of flying, and he's got this nice aerial view of this group of grungs who are kind of doing these laps around this building. They keep kind of circling it. They're trying to peek in the windows and whatnot, and so he gets this nice aerial view of that. And then so Tobias is telling him, roar at the grungs. Is that kind of?
Yeah, try to scare them off or whatever.
Okay. So
Just because Arukus.
yeah, so the grungs get really excited by being roared at, and they all kind of group up together, and a couple of them pull out bows and arrows and start kind of firing at Arokh, but they're not doing very well, probably the distance away that they are, the height that Arokh is. But what does catch...
Arokh tries to intimidate him, by the way.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm one screening. Oh, yeah. Okay. They are scared shitless. So they kind of, once they see that arrows are not reaching him and the roar has scared the pants off them, they kind of scatter and start heading back to the building where you saw them on the roof. So Arokh is feeling quite happy with himself about this whole situation until he notices that on the edge of the cliff that's closest to them, there is a large kind of flapping object coming towards him. Does Arokh have dark vision? Or?
No, he's not.
Okay. So he can't...
Not yet, at least.
Sure. So he can't make out what it is, but there is something very big flying towards him.
Okay, seeing that the grunks just scattered out, he's going to hide in the jungle.
Okay. Okay. Hang on one sec. Let me...
You got this, fam. Come on. You can do it. Just take it on, man.
So is he heading towards the edge of the cliff? Or, well, wait, hang on. The thing that's flying is coming towards him from the jungle. Does that make sense? There's you guys were down in the water, in this thing, and then there's the cliff and the jungle.
From what I remember, initially he was at the wall, at the ring to wall.
Yeah. Do you want to move? Shall I move you back quick so you can see?
Oh yes, please.
Okay.
Okay, so okay, so we are currently here, right?
Yeah. And Arokh was like over here. So?
Somewhere here.
Yeah.
Okay, so he scared of the grunts and
So,
seeing that
big
this
big flappy thing.
big flappy thing coming towards him, he's going to dive onto the intersides of the walled area.
Okay, gotcha. So he sees this big flappy thing kind of flying towards him one wing at a time, and he dives down into the kind of the shrubbery, like down in here, or down towards the building.
Like here.
Okay, all right. So he's going to make a stealth check for him hiding. Okay,
good enough.
That's a good stealth check. Right.
He got +5, so
it's good. Let me just have a look at one thing here. What the passive perception is of this thing that is flying. One moment. Was not expecting to. Okay, so he sees this big shadow kind of as Arokh is hiding, right? Sees this big shadow kind of like moves around, like swoops, like does this kind of wide circle over where it saw Arokh, like go down towards the ground, and when it does not see Arokh, it kind of returns. I hate that it's pinging while I'm doing this. It kind of circles back, and Arokh loses sight of it as it heads back towards the cliffs. Boop.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to the group inside. And let me know if Arokh decides to kind of come out of hiding and venture anywhere else. He's welcome to do so, obviously. Okay, so back to the group inside.
Ulfgar says, "So, how did you escape?"
Who escaped what?
How did you escape the Yuan-ti? You never did mention how that happened.
Like says, I was never captured by them.
Well, it's good to know that we've got someone then that has the rest of the puzzle cubes. And he just kind of gives her a wink and says, "Did you happen to get the one out of the nearby one that the grungs were at?"
She kind of like gives a bit of a sigh. No, I have not visited that temple yet.
And Ulfgar says, "Damn it."
Shrine. She says, that's where I was heading when they kind of overwhelmed me a little, and I ended up taking refuge in here after being poisoned, and yeah, and here you have found me.
Yeah, they're not usually, they don't look very scary, but I tell you what, those buggers really do sting. Especially when there's a lot of them.
Yeah, we didn't throw nearly enough of them into the lava.
That wasn't them. We saved that one.
Well, the others,
And they threw themselves in.
Zagmira says, "You saved a grung?"
I was being sacrificed by a bunch of vegetable pygmy people.
She kind of does this massive eye roll and then says, she's kind of muttering under her breath, typical veggie pygmy ridiculousness. And she says, "Why don't you use that as leverage to get access to the shrine?"
We were going to if we absolutely had to, but for now we were just trying to find a place to rest. And then you tell us that there have been 2 people captured by some Yuan-ti that we just got a bunch of crocodiles led down into their cave.
She says, I wouldn't worry about the crocodiles. The Yuan-Ti can handle themselves.
That's what we're more worried about. Would rather the crocodiles take them out. Snake people, they're gross.
Alright, well, are we staying
I
here?
I was gonna say, I suggest we stay here. I look at Tobias, I'm like, is it Arokh? Is it still dark outside?
Yeah.
Can you just go look out of the window?
They're all boarded up. All the windows are boarded up.
You can stick your head in the front door. That'd be about it.
True. That's another way to put it.
We should probably just camp here. Do we need to look upstairs before we do that?
It's a long corridor with many doors and many boarded up windows. So I don't think we should. I think we should just stay where we are. I'll stay here where I'm at, and if anything comes down the stairs, I'll scream.
Okay.
Ulfgar says, I could just put up my dome.
I mean, there's also that. I mean,
It's no fun.
Ulfgar starts to do his dome summoning. And while
Okay.
that's happening, I'm going to turn to the meow real quick.
Go on then. Yowie boy. Okay, so Ulfgar kind of settles in is sitting cross-legged on the floor, doing his ritual casting of the dome. Takes 10 minutes. Is there anything else anybody wants to do while he's doing this?
no.
I
Aelia
think so.
sidles up to Zegmira and kind of leans in and says, Did you know Valindra wants the Soulmonger for herself?
She says, yes, I did. I did have that idea.
Aelia just kind of nods and then saunters off.
Okay. So if nobody else is doing anything, then a few minutes later, the Ulfgar's very familiar hut pops into existence, and Zegmira says, "Oh, that's convenient."
It is. You should come in. It's really nice.
It's dimly lit as well.
She says, yes. And she looks over at Orvex and says, you and I have a lot of catching up to do. And Orvex just kind of like smiles at her kind of wanly and nods. And they kind of head over and she's kind of chatting quietly to Orvex.
Do we have a handout for Zegmira?
No, there is no handout for Zegmira, which I was severely disappointed in. But she is, you're gonna have to use your imagination. She's kind of medium height human. She has kind of olive skin, like I said, completely shaved head, these kind of finer feminine features, and but she holds herself with kind of a fair amount of confidence. She's quite a confident lady.
Mm-hmm.
Are they within anyone's hearing distance?
Yeah,
Are they
definitely.
still in the dome?
Yeah, I mean,
One.
would Ulfgar... Is that...
Ulfgar has to stay in the dome for the dome to exist.
Yeah, but Zegmira is allowed in the dome,
Yeah.
I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Okay. Then, yeah, they would take shelter in the dome, and you would definitely be able to kind of listen in if you want to.
Okay. I just wanted to know if I hear anything in particular.
It's basically Orvex telling her about how you guys kind of dug him out, And then he starts telling her where you guys have been since, and sharing with her the puzzles that have been solved. So he's filling
Okay.
her.
After a little bit, I just kind of roll over and then go to sleep then.
Okay. All right. So anybody doing anything before we sleep? Do the long rest thing, or
No.
Mm-mm.
anybody else going once?
Do you want us to?
Oh no! I just want to make sure everybody has the opportunity to. Okay. Then everybody gets a long rest in. So if you're down any hit points or spell slots, those are restored. And you
Nice.
wake in the morning to very big party of I think we're like 50-50 now, aren't we? PCs versus NPCs. No more.
I keep trying to get rid of them, but it just doesn't work. I mean, heck, Valia is even trying to eat one of them. So, I mean, come on.
And Zegmira, first thing out of her mouth is her saying, I know, she says, we should, she says, let me start again. I know you want to save your friends, she says, and as do I. Want to help you with that, she says, but we are so close to this shrine that I feel like we must take this first. She seems quite insistent.
Yeah, I have to agree, but I won't eat any. But I will claw them to pieces.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
What does? I missed what she said.
We have to go get the
Take out
temple
the
with the grungs.
Sorry.
Hopefully there's not a counting puzzle and I just look it up.
Ulfgar says, I'm just worried about the rest of you with these grung.
It's okay. If they turn me again, just run.
Well,
I can do something about the grung now that we've had a rest, but if it needs to turn to violence, anyway.
I could try scaring them off.
I mean, yeah, you were gonna do that to begin with, so I mean, why not try that now? Oh, well, when we get closer.
Aye. Says I could try that, because I don't know. We've tried speaking with him and reasoning with him before. Whether we saved one of them or not, I'm just worried it's going to go south. For all we know, we saved one of them that they all hate.
Yeah, that's true. Probably a reason why he was captured in the first place. Maybe they sacrificed. Please take our village, idiot.
They're like, here, veggie pygmies, take this one.
Yeah.
We hate this one.
He's such a jerk. He's always correcting people. Grammar.
So Ulfgar would talk to Zegmira and say, so I don't know how close you got, but did you see, have they taken up residence at the temple, or were they just staying there
She says,
temporarily?
She says, as far as I can see, they are, they think that is their home now.
Right. What kind of statues were outside of it? Do you recall?
Ooh. She says, well, I think it's fairly obvious. She says, it's a frog-like statue.
Oh, not interested.
Oh,
no. I think
We're
I'd rather
all
go
just
fight
groaning.
Let's go to the snake people.
Zegmira looks like really confused. Like, what's wrong with frogs?
Nope. Done with frogs.
Ulfgar had a run-in with a gigantic frog, and a man of his stature kind of just vanished into its gullet, and we had to get him out.
I pipe up. He was eaten by a frog.
Zygmira looks at Orvex and nods her head.
And he says, and I've lived to tell the tale. It's not a pleasant one, and I don't recommend people relive that.
Yeah, it was pretty gross. I mean, we were able to get the frog, but it was pretty gross. Even for my standards.
Zygmira says, as far as I can tell, the Grung have taken up residence there. She says, the closest I could get was a glimpse up the front steps, she says, and there do seem to be a set of serious kind of stone doors up the steps towards the main building of the shrine.
Well,
she says, but I think you're familiar with these kind of doors by now.
Yeah.
Ulfgar says, well, I've got 3 solutions that I can see. 1, we try and scare him off. Actually, 4. 1, we try and scare him off.
5 solutions.
5 solutions. No, several solutions. 1, we try and scare him off. Another one is we try to reason with him. Another one is we just straight up attack. Could always just straight up avoid him as well. Or we try and make it look like we saved him from attack. I can do that too. And then try negotiating.
I lost count. How many was that?
Yeah, that was... And he looks at Valia. 3. And he gives a wink at Zygmira.
She kind of frowns at you.
I just look at her and say, we all get that reaction. It's okay.
Oh,
I'm like, well, I think we should just head straight to them, get rid of them, get them out of here. We already have enough problems without them being involved. We're not going to get in that temple without them noticing us and attacking. So, I mean, I could try to talk to them again, but remember what happened last time?
Well, we did save one, and like I said, could make it look like we saved them from attack, from a T-Rex perhaps, or something. Maybe a giant crocodile that we put down quickly.
Who knows, maybe Bag of Nails will show up with his trusty bow and take out some grung. Because remember, he ran off and lost him somewhere.
Zygmira says, oh, I think I encountered this person.
Annoying cat, try to shoot arrows at you.
This sounds about right.
Yeah. We actually stopped him and we were going to kill him because see our friendly cleric over there, our friendly horse lady, she
Horse lady.
Yeah, he almost killed her.
Aelia looks very grumpy.
Like, she's never wanted to kill somebody in her life until then. We were best friends.
I've wanted to kill plenty of people. I think you misunderstand what kind of cleric I am.
This is true. I'm just like, but we were best friends that day. She told me I could eat him. That's the only time she
That's
told me
right.
I could. And should we find him again and we cross paths and he misbehaves, I will eat him right in front of her.
Oh, we bonded over
And you have my permission.
bonding over cannibalism. It's great.
Ulfgar says, well, considering how diverse of a culture our group tends to be, wouldn't be surprised if we pick up a cat at some point too. So, anyway, what do we do about these frogs? I'm not too keen on water.
Yeah, I got ranged attacks. I don't.
Yeah, so do they. And they've got poison tips, which might have adverse effects on some people in the party.
Yeah,
Do you want me to turn into...
What's that?
Sorry. I was going to say, do you want me to turn into a giant crocodile and you guys can pretend to kill me?
I could just do a magic image of that instead, and then it'd be a bit safer. I'd rather not risk trying to shoot you.
What if they try and poke the image?
I could try and make it look like it's hit by those things. I could try. I don't know if I'd succeed. What if they end up hitting
Well-
her with the with things? That's less desirable.
Well, if it comes to sending them all to the grave, I have a series of ancestors that might help.
How about you, Zegmira? Any magics that you might have that would help us deal with their poison and mind-affecting chemicals?
She says, I think we should take a completely different approach. She says, instead, why don't we appeal to their chief's greed?
What do they want?
She says, I have no idea. They're grungs, but surely they would want for something. She says, they've
What?
taken.
What if they want us dead?
What if they want our heads on spikes?
That seemed to be their general prognosis before.
Well, if they like gold, we got plenty of that.
No, we don't. Ulfgar just says flat.
Like looks at Ulfgar with a smile.
That's that pyrite stuff. It's all fake. But
They won't know.
would any of us have any history with grungs to know something they might appreciate or want? And what do they eat?
Are you saying this out loud?
Yes.
Rorax says, I have some knowledge of grungs.
Spit it out then.
He says, well, usually, they're, usually herbivores. He says, but if their chief is in there, then he'll probably appreciate some kind of gift to show tribute to him if we're going to try and parlay with him.
Right, we got that much, but what kind of gift? What do they value?
I think something that would look impressive to them, like something sparkly and I don't know.
Cat-like? Something sparkly. Right. He looks over at Gao. He looks away. Nope. Gao, I think you'd best stay out of sight. They like shinies like you do, then.
It's like Mira says, this is just a suggestion.
I'm always up for a non-violent approach, but they tend to be overly violent folks. At least last time we ran into their like. Did you happen to see about how many there were in number before your retreat?
She says, well, I saw at least 5 of the yellow guys outside. She says, and plus the ones on the roof. Says, who knows how many more there are.
Oi. I realize that there's a lot of us, and we're fairly capable in battle. And he looks at Zegmir and says, at least those that I know of. And looks over at Orvax and says, okay, most of us. And says, but I don't know exactly how many there are if we went head on. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for a good fight, but...
She says, should also mention that I think they've trained one of the dinosaurs for their chief. She kind of shrugs her shoulders.
You saw this dinosaur?
She says, yes, it's wading around in the water over there.
King of Feathers is close by. No.
When you say a dinosaur...
Says, no, not King of Feathers.
Are you talking another Vegisaur?
She says, yes.
How big?
She says, kind of a bit bigger than... She says, she hasn't seen Arokh yet, has she?
No.
Okay. She motions.
She might definitely hear the roar in the distance.
She motions to Aelia and says, "Oh, a bit bigger than you, my dear, but not too much bigger." She says, "It's like a big draft horse or something."
Right. Okay. Well.
But in dinosaur form.
Something tells me they wouldn't really be afraid if I were to make something like a large crocodile or T-Rex appear. They might actually just try fighting that thing. Defend their home as it is.
We could offer them one of the diamonds that we picked up.
We picked up diamonds?
I mean,
think
no,
so.
no, we don't have any diamonds at all, Ulfgar.
I thought we only had copper pieces.
This whole time, everybody's been holding out on Ulfgar.
Or the 3 blue quartz pieces. They might find that shiny.
Well,
We picked it up a long time ago.
Okay. Well, how would we even negotiate with them? Because if somebody goes up to negotiate, obviously we'll have to do it in a peace-like manner. Someone will have to communicate for them. Or to them. Because we found out they didn't understand common. Or at least the one that we had.
Rorax will say, "Well, no, of course they don't understand common."
Are you really willing to go walk in front of all of them then? He looks
you
That's
asking
what
Rorax?
Valia was.
Right. So...
Or we could just go kill him.
Let's just sneak in.
Okay.
Ulfgar's like, I don't know. I'm always about scouting things out, but this seems like it's going to end up in a battle one way or another.
Gao will say, "I should talk to him as one leader to another."
He might find your hat quite valuable indeed and want that instead.
Gao just holds on to his crown and just shrinks backwards.
Oh, don't listen to him, Gao. You might actually have a point.
Ha
Oh, he'll get the point.
Oh.
We should totally send the kobold in. You should go right now.
Gao kind of looks up at you, Aelia. Like,
I'll take you. Let's go.
Oi.
And Aelia starts trotting off towards the door.
Alright, well, let me at least scout ahead for you then. Make sure that we're not going to just straight up be ambushed.
suddenly Gao looks very concerned. He wasn't actually expecting anybody to take him up on this offer. But he does follow along.
So first, I guess I'll do a stealth and then I'll do a perception.
So wait, what you doing?
I'm scouting ahead to see if we're going to, get ambushed. It's just trying to exit the building. And 2, to see if I can see if any of them are nearby or if they're all at the temple or what.
Okay, gotcha. So you're kind of sticking your head out the door, have a little look around.
Like I said, I'm trying to be stealthy about it.
All right,
though,
go with it.
Okay, stealth. Perception. There you go.
Okay. So you don't see any grung directly around your building, but you think if you're holding really still listening, you've got your eyes closed listening to the sounds of the jungle, you think you can hear them to the north still. So
All right. He comes back in.
pretty
and
sure
says,
they didn't go away.
The coast is relatively clear, but I believe there's some nearby just to the north of us. So I guess I'm saying the coast isn't entirely clear, but it's mostly clear. They're not like right outside the door, and he starts like jawing on.
What's Arokh up to while you guys are doing this? Is he still hiding? Or...
I don't think Tobias heard.
Hey Nere, what's Arokh up to while everybody else is doing this?
He probably will be waiting on the wall.
Okay. Let's move you guys back because we're kind of done with that. building for now. Can you show me? Can you like mark where on the wall he is?
He tried to sneak in here,
Okay.
and he's on top of this wall,
Okay.
this chunk.
So he will share with you, Tobias, that he can see the grung all around this temple, and that they can also see him up on the wall, right? It's not actually that far away. And that, like, how far is that? Yeah, they can totally see him up on that wall. And that they are fearful of him still.
Mm-hmm. Good. Very good.
Okay. All right. So how are you guys proceeding?
Yes, are you guys going by yourselves, or are we all coming? Or are we gonna hide?
I think we should
Really
all,
didn't think this through that much.
we should all come along and try keeping a low profile and a small group walk forward.
So are we going to avoid the grunts, or we are trying to approach them?
Approach.
As Zagmira suggested, to appease their chief.
Yes, well, Gao had a pretty good idea. Gao does have a literal crown. I'm sure they'd probably recognize what that is.
Shiny.
Gao says, are we going to give them a gift? His eyes
We
get
might
low.
give them a gift, Gao.
You can be their gift.
Hey.
He frowns. Like peels
But
his
maybe you
lips
can
back a
rule
bit.
them. You're a king.
Yeah,
I don't wanna-
shared with Ulfgar my insight of Arokh's point of view.
Right.
We should just give him the quartz or one of the diamonds, and I mean, if it all goes south, we'll get it back.
Let's go with the
I
quartz.
have a bunch of gold. I have a bunch of gold.
When we murder them,
Yeah.
we'll get their treasure.
It looks like they are not willing to pursue us, so we can sneak out alongside the cliff on the south side.
Okay.
He's the man with the spy on the wall.
All right. So Aelia. So how are you guys doing?
I think I'll take the lead, and I'll go as Tobias suggests along the cliff.
Okay. So you got Gao? Is he on your back? Is he like walking in front?
Yeah, Gao's on my back.
Okay, got it. All right. So
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So you're walking. Now you kind of skirt along the edge of the wall, and as you kind of come out from behind, like if we zoom in quite a bit, look at these buildings here. As you come out kind of from behind these buildings right here, you can see immediately the grung are like, there's a whole kind of group of them up on the roof of this shrine up here. And
Actually, what I suggested that we go this way.
Wait, why that way?
Oh, sorry, I misunderstood.
I wanted to go on the south side.
But they're up.
Yes, but why?
They're up here though.
So either that, or we going to confront the grunks.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, we're confronting the grunts.
Okay. Sorry,
Is the water around that temple? Does it look like it was pretty deep? I don't remember.
It comes a fair ways up Ulfgar, but then he is rather short.
Yeah, I mean, is it deep enough for me to submerge in it?
You could, yeah, just about.
Yeah, because I rolled my stealth check. I went before everybody, and I'm gonna see if I can kind of sneak into the water up to the temple.
Oh yeah, okay. Alright. Let me check some grung passive perceptions here. Pretty sure they're crap, so well, not too bad, but okay.
If they're focused on Arokh.
Right, they are. They do have this like, and that's the thing that Aelia would notice as well, is that they all seem to be like paying attention to Arokh up on the wall around here somewhere. And they seem very defensive at the moment. So the water does kind of like start off pretty shallow, and yeah, Valia would notice this as well. They totally don't see you because they're too busy like being thoroughly, fearful of this large dragon-like creature up on the wall.
So who's on the approach? Like who's the negotiation committee? Obviously, it's Aelia and Gao. Anybody else going with them?
I mean, I'm already in the water sneaking up to the temple, so...
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of go a little bit, but stay back where I can kind of hide a little bit in bushes, but still kind of see what's going on.
Okay.
Aelia will turn to Gao and say, Gao, now's your time. You need to call out to speak to their chieftain. And try both your languages.
Ulfgar says, do you want me to go with you? And then he speaks to both of you.
Aelia will motion a hand for you to follow.
Aye. Then allow me to provide motivational support. He pulls out his horn.
Yeah, actually.
And
this could be good.
He says, I can sound your approach, my liege, as he looks at Gao.
Gao says, of course, as is customary. I don't know how I know a word this big, but...
He pulls out his horn.
I'm gonna wait at the base until I see, until I hear the horn, hopefully, or see them get their attention somewhere else.
Okay, let me see on the map.
Gao gets inspiration.
Gao gets inspiration. Fantastic.
I can't think of a more appropriate way for him to get it too.
Okay. So Gao starts calling out, Grung, you are being approached by the most magnificent
Orvex.
Then he's shouting out in common, most magnificent King Gao of the Kobolds.
Orvex, translate
I wish to speak with your king. And the Grung are all like, they start kind of hopping up and down on the roof, and they're like gibbering and Grung, just kind of gibbering and Grung at him. So this is how it's going so far.
Now try Draconic.
Okay, so he says the same thing again, but in Draconic. So lots of like hisses and guttural kind of, verbiage. And the Grung are still like hopping up and down on the roof.
And Aelia will stop just before the entryway.
Okay.
The two statues.
Then let me move you guys over to the map for this shrine, because there is a little space there. I can pop you over there.
I don't understand. We came up with 12 plans. Went with one of them that we thought we would just, not plan any further with. And just
oh, sorry, Valia. I'm just moving you momentarily. Wait,
wrong.
did I move you guys? Okay. I lost track of which map you guys were on. Hang on.
Aelia has that effect.
We're all chaotic characters, right?
Yeah.
You are now. Okay, let me pop you guys down here. Hopefully
Surprise! I will paladin.
paste. So we're gonna put Orvex and Dagmar over there. Okay, hang on, give me 1 second, and I will take you guys over to the map. Momento. Oh, okay. All right. So hang on, let me get sorted a little bit further. Sorry, one moment. Shuffling everybody around. Valia, you're lurking in the water. Okay, where's Flippy, by the way? Is he hanging out with the rest of the crowd, or?
Sure.
Okay. Alright.
More importantly, where's Orbex?
Orbex is at the very back.
Because Ulfgar keeps on like, Orbex, can you translate that really loud?
Okay, so I'm moving you guys over to the shrine maps, and we are in the bottom row in the center.
Hold on, gotta zoom out. Bottom row, center. Okay. Let's minimize this stuff for a moment. Great. Oh.
All the derps.
Yeah.
I was just looking at all the derp emojis. Okay. Oh, I need Arokh as well. I'm gonna bring him onto the map just in case he is. I mean,
why I'm seeing double tokens?
Double tokens? Where are you seeing double tokens?
On the shrine on the right, bottom right.
They're also
yeah,
left
I have
over on
triple
the
tokens.
Whoops.
other one.
Yep.
It's fine.
Just look at the middle one.
You see nothing. Hang on. There we
It's
go.
the blur spell.
I fix it. I fix it.
Makes you
I fix
you're
it.
seeing multiples.
Or we're just stuck in multiple realities, you know.
You see nothing. There you go.
That'd be
Fixed.
pretty
You're not fun.
You know, it'd be no fun fighting two of everybody at the same time. Don't think it's going to end up in a fight at all. There's definitely no fighting can happen. All right. So there's also a Zorbo hanging out over here. I could bring him in on the phone.
Nairbear. Save us, Nairbear.
Oh, he won't be saving you.
Save or shave us.
Alright, so we've got Arokh kind of like off to the side here if we need his token. Alright, anyway. So,
Aelia quickly, sorry to interrupt, but quickly turns to Gao and says to Gao, say or yell, Orvix, approach. Command him.
Orvex, approach! Orvex is kind of
doing it horribly.
Orvex is like, he stands frozen for a minute like, oh god, you really want me to go up there? And then he's already like kind of, he's got his like robes all picked up and everything, trying to keep them out of the water as much as he can. And then he starts just slowly wading over to like, to you guys, to Aelia and Gao, and ends up standing kind of next to you. And he's kind of like, he's looking up at the roof. All these grung are like hopping up and down.
Aelia looks Orvix in the eyes and says, Gao is your king, okay? And she says this in a way that's like, just go along with it.
Orvex is like, sure, yeah. I mean, Gao's my king. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, you want me to translate? He says suddenly like,
Aelia just nods very sharply.
And so he, Orvex kind of like clears his throat a little and then does, you know, the whole like grung, he speaks in grung too, and you hear like, and the only word that makes sense in there is Gao, you know? So you do hear the word Gao in amongst the mess of grung language. And you see,
and we wait.
and you're right, okay. You see kind of immediately this grung kind of retreats a bit, and you see he's kind of actually he'll go stand on the stairs, and then kind of out from this direction comes this this duo, this dinosaur being ridden by this grung, and they stand very squarely in between the two obelisks. Oh, and you can see on the front of the obelisks, sidebar, is monoliths adorned with prancing frog-like creatures rise from the swamp. And then beyond, a ruined edifice shaped like an arrowhead squats in the muddy water. Bushes and trees growing from its roof, along with hopping up and down grungs. And at the point of the building, steps ascend to a stone door caked in slime. Except blocking a lot of this view is this big dinosaur with a rather stately looking grung sitting on top.
How awesome is this, that the chieftain of the grung atop their dinosaur is approaching the king of the kobolds approach his centaur atop his centaur.
Worlds are definitely colliding.
Is this where they joust?
Wow. So the grung sitting on top of the dinosaur begins kind of shouting, and Rorax waits a moment for him to take a breath and then starts translating back for you. He's going to climb on top of this rock while he does it. He's kind of like hoisting up his robes, really trying not to get away. He says, leeches. And then he's like climbs up on the rock. And he says, Chief Yorb does not recognize any kobold royalty. And then there's more shouting from Chief Yorb, and then Rorax translates saying, Chief Yorb demands that we leave immediately or face his warriors.
Threaten to call down your dragon minion. If you're not heard.
Aelia tells Gal, threaten to call down your dragon minion, and then Aelia motions to Tobias to come forward.
Tobias or Arokh?
Tobias.
Ulfgar just like kind of puts his hand up and says no, and he says to her, I can just message him from here, it's alright.
Oh, okay.
So Gao shouts, I will call down my dragon minion, although I am as fearsome as a dragon. He looks kind of confused. And Rorax translates this to Chief Yorb, and Chief Yorb, like, you see him like muttering back with some of his warriors, and he says, and then shouts back, and Rorax translates to you. He says that he does not believe us.
Aelia, kind of with a back hoof, kind of splashes to indicate.
Ulfgar sends a message to Tobias saying, quick, we need a show that Gao might have some kind of control over Arokh. Can you have him just do like a fly around when Gao does a wave or something? Come on, man. He sends
While
the
they're
message.
discussing this, can I sneak over here? And I'm going to nip the heel of this dinosaur.
Yeah, I mean, the dino is completely oblivious to your existence at the moment, lurking in the water there. So, let's see, hang on. Roll an attack with advantage for your bite.
Sorry, while this is happening, GM, I'm gonna tell Gao to make a wave. To wave in the air like he's summoning his dragon.
Okay. Gao does this like extremely elaborate flourish of his hand. He's like,
Oh,
something like that.
You
Just
froze
ridiculous.
for me, Kashcah.
Oh yeah, but he does. You're just gonna have to imagine it. Oh
Okay.
no!
I can imagine a beautiful flourish.
Come on, camera. Camera, can you work?
Oh no, you're now spinny.
I think I got. But anyway, Gao does this fantastic flourish, and yes, he's waving his hand around in the air
So Tobias,
like he just don't care.
Arokh.
Yeah, I know.
You gonna play along?
He just needs to fly in a circle.
Okay, there we
Come
go.
on.
I'm back.
Okay, alright. We'll do a quick flyby.
It's fairly comical when he does, right? Because they're growing on top of the roof are all like, rah, they're so ferocious, and then Arokh comes just gliding by. Oh god, they all kind of like cringe in fear. Still worry, like after that 20 or natural 20 intimidation check for Arokh, they're still quite afraid of him. So they a lot of them kind of cower in fear. I think there's like a single arrow, but it's it's like, the bow is shaking as it's like drawing it, and then pew, the arrow just like goes completely wild. So
Meanwhile, Valia is nipping at the heels of a dinosaur.
So
Yeah, I didn't need advantage this time. Yay.
oh no, you
I
did
mean, I
not.
would take it any time, but
Are you trying to do damage, or are you just trying to start
no, I'm
it?
just
or-
trying to get it to like freak out and take off or knock the grung off or something.
Okay. So yeah, you bite through it's a fairly tough hide, but you bite through it successfully, and the whole dinosaur just rears up like on its back legs. Suddenly, there's this massive movement in front of you guys. This big splashing around as this dinosaur just rears up on its back leg, and Chief Yorb is like completely like startled by this and ends up kind of falling off the back of his dino
I'm gonna
into
kind
the
of
water.
slowly sneak back away. I'm hoping after hearing what they're doing, I'm hoping he, maybe thinks the dinosaur's scared or.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is very well timed with Arokh's flyby, and Chief Yorb is calling out to his other grung to kind of come over, and you see the other grung kind of coming over, and they're trying to like grab a hold of the dinosaur's like harness and get it to kind of calm back down again.
Cow,
I'm
while
curious,
this
is this
is
little
happening,
king frog-
shout. Shh.
Wait, what?
Gal, while this is happening, shout, shall we talk?
Gao says quite awkwardly, shall we talk? And Orvex like kind of gives a frown and translates, and Chief Yorb kind of is trying to wrestle the dinosaur and with his cohorts, and then kind of like stops and stands. He's gonna kind of hop over to the step here.
Ulfgar says, "Can you do that calming effect if it starts getting a bit antsy?"
Alien nods.
Okay.
In fact, I might do that now. I'm gonna cast Calm Emotions. They can resist it if they want to, but if they feel it watching over them, they can also accept it.
The Hadrosaur suddenly becomes super chill.
Yay!
So he just kind of like lies down, like super chill in the water.
It's a cute image, actually.
Chief Yorb looks at the dinosaur and is like, "What is going on?" He's like totally confused. Like first, he's like. And then he looks at Gao and says, "I agree to speak." Except he yells it, and then Orvex translates. He agrees to talk.
Alright, Gao, do you remember what we wanted from here? We offer them something in return for a passage into the temple.
He says, what are we offering them?
Quartz. Some shiny quartz. Shiny stones. Kellisto! And he starts sending message off in the bushes where he thinks she might be. Kellisto, we need those quartz.
Make a perception check, see if you can see Kellisto.
Okay.
I actually don't think I'm the one carrying them, though.
Oh.
I think they're in Valia's bag.
Oh, crap. If you'd reply with that.
Everything's in my bag. Did we forget about that?
Not everything, but most things
Not
are.
everything. Most things. The cubes are in Aelia's bag.
Perception.
Well, you're definitely gonna hear Gao say, "Shiny stones."
Actually, I believe that the quartz is in Ulfgar's bag because they were in a purse with a bunch of money. The dinosaur hide purse.
I've got a pouch.
So I would think that you would have picked it up.
I've got a pouch of jewelry from the Spooky Crypt bracelets. Oh, from the Spooky Crypt bracelets. Oracle's gold heart, shield,
Is this like shuffling around between people? Where do we put that quartz again?
Nope, don't have it.
Somebody does.
I
wrote it down that we found it.
I do have some a pouch of jewelry though from the Spooky Crypts. So
I'll just hand some of that then.
Yeah. So Ulfgar would he's got that on him, so he'd just take the pouch out and offer that up.
Okay. So Gao takes that and says to you, Aelia, onwards, your onwards, trusty mount.
Aelia smiles and nods to Gao and then trots forward.
Okay. So by this time, you see these two grung warriors are kind of like, one is like behind, like pushing this super chill dinosaur, and the other one is the other side, like trying to pull this dinosaur out of the way. And they're just like slowly making progress, like pulling the dinosaur out of the way, so they just kind of get the dinosaur out of the way. And this grung does move up and is eyeing the group warily. But Chiefio says, yells something, and Orvex says he wants you to approach.
With Gao's command, I approach Chief Yorb.
Okay.
Ulfgar would try to stay within touch range of Gao.
Okay.
He would not be happy about entering the water, but nonetheless.
All right. So Chief Yorb stands on the steps with his hands kind of on his little froggy hips and waits for you to get up there.
All right, Aelia, you're leading. Charge.
Yep. All right, we have tokens.
Yes.
Okay. And Gao is like up there as well. Okay, so Chief Yorb is kind of standing there, and Orvex is kind of gingerly steps down into the water again, still holding up his robes, trying to not get soggy, and kind of walks within earshot as well.
So, as Aelia and Gao approach through the water, Ulfgar uses his shape water spell to keep the water away from them as they walk through it.
You hear a lot of grung muttering going on. They definitely notice this, and the two kind of folks like this one and this one are kind of muttering, and they kind of chatter to the chief, and the chief is motioning like, stop it.
Rude.
Okay.
And then I suppose Gal would present the shinies to Chief Yorb.
Okay. So he holds the bag forward, and Chief Yorb kind of puts his hand out underneath it, being respectful and not touching Gal. Gal can let go, and the bag kind of drops into Chief Yorb's hands, and he quickly kind of like unties the pouch and opens it up. And then, if a frog could chuckle, he chuckles, and
It's like
and then he kind of he motions like over his shoulder, and actually the doors are kind of ajar behind him, and he's kind of motioning for you to look through.
Because of the unique situation we're in, Aelia will just lean back a little and tell Gal, I think you should look through on foot.
Gal says, okay. And he hops down and hops kind of up the steps and peers through, and oh, is what you hear Gal say. His eyes get
Aelia
quite
just
big.
stands there, just trying to act regal and stately without indicating any sort of move outside of Gal's orders, but waits for Gal to return.
So Gal kind of steps back down to be next to Chief Yorb and says, well, if you don't want them, I'll take them. And then looks over at Orvex, and Orvex is kind of like looking at Aelia and Ulfgar like, do I translate that bit?
Ulfgar's like, what's he talking about? Kind of like nudging Aelia. What's he talking about? What's going on?
Aelia will verbatim say, he just said, if you don't want them, I'll take them.
We just want the puzzle box. Don't tell me we're up
Your
here
Majesty Gal.
Bracelets for chicken.
Your Majesty Gal. I do believe we are here for the puzzle box. Is that not correct?
And he looks over at you. Yeah, but he doesn't want the shinies. He has plenty already. You should see.
Right.
Do we need more shinies?
No, just the puzzle box.
Well, I just thought if he didn't want those ones, I'd just take them.
Aelia's kind of sweating bullets right now. Like, this was going so well.
Ulfgar's like got this vein starting to pop out down the center of his forehead. He's turning a little bit pink.
So Gal kind of puts his hand out like towards Yorb, like after there's no translation, like for the bag, and Yorb is like,
see, Your Majesty Gal, he does want the shinies. He wants all of the shinies.
So there's like some more kind of shouting from Yorb, and Orvex says, he's asking why we're still here.
Say that we are here for the puzzle box that resides within.
Okay, Orvex kind of relays that to Yorb, and Yorb shouts back to Orvex, and Orvex says he has no idea of a puzzle box within.
May Majesty Gal enter and look for the puzzle box? She says this back to Orvex.
Orvex says it to Yorb, and Yorb shouts back, and he says, yes, he is allowed inside.
Alright, and then Aelia motions towards the door so that Gal can see the motion, and then kind of walks behind Gal and to be like, let's go.
Okay. Yeah, so you can see, once you get kind of up the steps a little bit, you can see there's this kind of opening, and you see, like, off to the side here.
Ulfgar starts sending back messages to Kellisto and Tobias, letting them know that they've accepted a trade. They don't know of a puzzle box. They've allowed us in. They've allowed Gao inside to look.
All right. So this
Okay,
is...
I'm gonna stay where I'm at in case, so that if they try to pull anything while they're inside, there's still people outside.
Okay.
Okay. So Gao heads on in.
And I will follow His Majesty.
Okay.
As she steps out of the water, he releases
Yorb
the
is-
magic spell on it.
Okay. Yorb is gonna go in with them as well.
Of course. In case we take any shinies.
So, okay, so so there are some torches in here, and they shed light over all these piles actually of treasure that you see. So as you go in, let's kind of reveal a bit more here.
Ulfgar takes up station on the bottommost step before the water, and he motions for Orvex to go in case they need more translation.
Rorax says, "Oh, I'm sure they'll need that," and does follow them in. So you see piles of treasure inside. You do see set into the floor in front of another set of double doors is a mosaic depicting a frog-like humanoid beating a leopard that has snakes emerging from its shoulders. And there's cuneiform inscriptions are woven above and below the combatants. So that's what this is right here, is this mosaic, and then there's these double doors right here. But you see kind of off to your left and right, piles of treasure.
Sorry, was that one leopard fighting two snakes?
That was a frog-like humanoid fighting a leopard. It's a leopard that has snakes emerging from its shoulders.
Oh, okay. I think I understand the mosaic now. Those two gods don't like each other.
Yeah, and there's writing kind of up, like above and below the mosaic.
Orvex, what does this writing say?
Orvex says...
While this is happening, Ulfgar also casts Comprehend Languages so he can understand any spoken stuff around him.
Okay. So the inscriptions are written in Old Amuan, and the one above the mosaic reads, "Nang Nang teaches us to serve only ourselves." And then the one below tells how Nang Nang, a grung, stole a spear from Shigambi, a Kamadan, per the legend of the old legend of the 9 gods.
I'm gonna walk up to these double doors.
Okay.
And see if they're firmly sealed.
There are 2 great handles on them, and when you try the doors, they appear to be locked. Oh, sorry, no, there aren't handles on them. I'm sorry. There aren't handles on them at all. In fact, no keyhole either. But when you give them a push, they do not move. My bad. Wrong
Okay.
doors.
And do I see anything from where I'm positioned in terms of the blackness?
Oh, yep. Sorry. You see. You see more treasure. More treasure.
So much treasure.
And then over here, it's just kind of empty.
Boy, am I glad that Callisto and Valia aren't here.
Pockets would be filled.
Aelia's gonna wander off this way, and hopefully Gal will follow.
Yep, Gao does follow. And you see kind of going this way some more. Let's get rid of that bit. More treasure, and there does seem to be like kind of an opening over here. Notice right here is a chest. Yeah. Sure does seem to be a lot of loot.
Too bad we've already got a bag holding full of loot as well.
Yeah, and here.
Aelia's gonna... Yeah.
Oh, more treasure!
Are the walls gotten reliefs or anything on them?
Let me double check. I don't think they do, but let me double check. Nope. Nope, it's fairly plain stone walls.
And I suppose the same for around this corner?
Guess what?
Treasure.
More treasure.
Treasure! So much treasure. Okay. Aelia's gonna backtrack and come around this side.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's very wise that we left Kellisto outside.
She would be able to carry all this stuff anyway.
Aelia's gonna walk up here to this passage.
You'll be shocked to know that there is more
So
treasure.
much loot.
Dear God.
More treasure.
It's probably a good thing Ulfgar didn't go in there either. He'd be scanning everything with detect magic.
And
And
last room.
finally, okay. It's all treasure as far as the eye can see, huh? No reliefs, no nothing.
No reliefs, no nothing. Let me double check again.
Yes, the druid has a very severe weakness for the shinies and the drink.
The drink.
They're new things. She never had them before.
Right. And they get her other new things that she's not seen before.
Yeah, no, they're all fairly stone walls. Plain stone walls, and yeah.
Aelia's gonna come back here and ask Orvex, can you ask Yorb if those doors have ever been passed? And
Orvex.
she indicates to the ones in the back.
Yeah, Orvex asks the question, and Yorb replies. Orvex translates and says, no, he has no idea what is behind the door.
Can I sneak up out of the water at the bottom of the step?
Yeah, when you do that, these the two growing there are like, "Urgh, urgh," and they kind of like take a moment, like for a moment they are all defensive, and then when they see kind of that you're with the rest of the group, they settle down a bit, but are still kind of watching you warily with their weapons like at hand.
I'm just gonna kind of inch on in the door.
Ulfgar's like, what you doing? Stop it.
Yeah, Chief Yorb is kind of standing over by the doors at this point.
Aelia seeing Valia, she kind of like tries to push Valia back out the door a little. And she says, it's only meant to be us, Valia. Like, she's saying this not because it's true, but because she wants to get rid of Valia.
And just tell him I'm your handy bodyguard. I came to see what's in here.
I am the
I see
bodyguard. That's who I
I was
am.
looking straight ahead. I just like I said, we just want to get this puzzle and
Out! Out!
You were never
I'm standing
eager to
at
do the
door.
puzzles before. Stop it now.
I just stand at the door. I'm not going any further than just the entrance. I'm just standing there.
Okay, you stand right there.
You do
You
see
don't go any further.
out the corner of your eye something sparkling over here.
I just glance over and I just stand there.
Okay. Alright.
Aelia's going to go back to the relief in front of the doors.
Mm-hmm.
Is there, like, any kind of impression of a spear in the relief? Or, like...
Nope, it is... I wish there was a handout of this, but there is not. It is literally just a mosaic of the frog-like humanoid. So there's the Grung fighting a Kamadan, basically.
Right.
And there's no impressions in it or anything like that.
Can I see that from where I'm standing?
Yeah, this mosaic is like 20 feet in front of you. Not even that.
Okay. Yeah, I asked Aelia, I'm like, what does it say?
It says that the frog god says to be selfish in all things, and that the frog god stole a spear from the leopard thing. So I was hoping there would be something for a spear. I feel like I'm missing something in this place.
Yeah. I'm like, well, you told me to stay here. I'm not moving yet, but if you need my help with those doors, we might be able to do something.
Aelia leans into Valia toward their ear and says, Valia, there's a lot of loot in this place, and I need to be able to trust that you won't take a single thing and get us in trouble.
I'm like, my bag's full. I can't really take anything else. But if we just need to get this puzzle and go, but if things turn wrong and they all die somehow, then I'm gonna loot them. But for now,
but you're not gonna be the reason it turns wrong, right?
No.
Okay. Come on.
No. Okay. I was like, not. At least not entirely.
Just like, I'm gonna trip Ulfgar.
Aelia, like, shivers a little bit when she hears not entirely.
Yorb is like, he starts motioning to the mosaic and he's talking away, and Orvix says, he's talking about how, Nang Nang stole the spear belonging to Shigambi, and he says, of course, the Grung wins, and, but then says, as you can see, there is, no crazy cube here, so...
Does the king have a spear? For chief, rather?
You, sir, are not in the building.
Still, I think they would notice that if it was there.
Hang on 1 second. Let me have a look. Oh, there is a handout. Sorry. Let's get... Oh my gosh. He is fantastic. He is fabulous.
Come on.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
You've been
I love that he's got like... I'm so
Yorviness.
sorry. He's got like some kind of crazy spider margarita going on there. What is that?
I was
He is
hoping he'd
fantastic.
be much, much fatter. Like when he fell off the dinosaur, I just imagine this little Grunk flailing, and they have to help him up because his little feet are just tiny, and he's like so like big old.
Okay, so
no, but he does look
Gotcha.
quite pitiful because all his feathers on his headdress are all drenched now, and so he's not quite as fabulous as he looks here.
Orvix, what do you think about this? I'm usually good at these things, and I got nothing.
Wait, who are you talking to?
Orvex?
Orvix.
Orvex says, it's the legend of the 9 gods, he says. The Kamadan had fashioned a holy spear and she left it by the riverbank, and then a crafty grung stole it. And in her rage, the Shagambi, the Kamadan god, forgot all about Amuans and chased Nang Nang across the sky forever.
To this very day.
So we have to find a spear, is what you're saying.
Rorax is like got this look on his face like, I'm not used to this kind of pressure. I just
Aelia seeing Tobias turn up, she's like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, Yorb is looking kind of like, why are all these people in my house?
I'll just reach in and take one of my regular crappy spears and slowly pull it out and hand it to Aelia. Like, here, maybe, I don't know. We'll see if this works.
Tobias, meanwhile, he's taking a look of the quarters, and he tries to focus more on the ceiling. Is there anything peculiar about it?
It's filled with spikes that are
No.
clipping.
There's 1,000 grungs stuck to the ceiling. No, the ceiling is as bare as the walls, unfortunately.
Aelia takes the spear from Valia and lays it across the mosaic, hoping something will happen.
Chief York picks it up,
It's a javelin.
starts saying stuff in grung, and Orvex says he thanks you very much for the gift of the spear, but thinks that it's kind of a crappy one.
I turn to Orvex. I'm like, that's because it is. I just used a random tree branch and carved. Can I move
You know
closer
what?
to this little pillar? And I just want to kind of look around. I probably know like information.
I'm sure
more than
Yorb's
we-
used to you being here, but Aelia's kind of focused on Tobias. Like, we can't just keep letting people in here. Yorb invited Gao in.
Yorb is like looking up at Valia right now. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I just kind of kneel down a little bit on my knees, and I'm like looking at the door, and I point to it, and I'm just gonna use my, I guess, speak with animals, since I spoke to the last grungs apparently, and they were all right. So I just ask them, I'm like, you've never tried to open these doors before?
Wait, speak with animals. Can you understand the reply, or I forget?
Yes.
Okay. He says, "Oh, we have tried many times, but never have we opened them."
Have you seen anything like, a long stick, a spear, anything that might help open this? I mean, I could try to maybe pull it.
He says, "Oh, very strong grung have tried to pull the doors and push the doors." He says, "But the doors do not move."
I'm not a grung though. So maybe me and point at Aelia, and I'm like, maybe we can try to get. I tell him, who knows what more treasures you'll find in there.
He says, "Heh, these treasures." And he says, "But my warriors are very strong. They have already tried. Now, where's my spider margarita?"
I just tell him, I said, yes, you have very strong warriors, but could we give it a try? We're not as strong as your warriors, of course, but you never know.
He says, "The contents of this building are mine. So you can try it, but whatever's in there is mine."
I'm like, I just look at Aelia and nod my head. I was like, of course.
Aelia approaches Valia and waits for Yorb to move out of the way, respectfully.
Yep, your bull step aside, eagerly waiting to see if you can pull the sword from the stone kind of thing.
Alright.
I said, do you want to push first or pull first?
It's actually like
Aelia kind of like
Not that you
puts
can
a
pull
hand
much.
over the door and says, "I don't think that we can pull this."
it's
I
like
just laugh.
nothing there.
Yeah, I just laugh at her. I'm like, I know. Let's see what we can do.
Aelia puts a shoulder up to the door. Ready?
Okay. Make strength checks.
At that moment, Ulfgar casts Arcane Lock on the door. No.
Can I use my luck?
I
on
always
that?
do this, which is the...
Sure.
It's a strength roll, right, for a strength check?
Yeah. Yeah, so if you click on...
Oh, no.
They don't budge.
A little look. It's been in this water.
It is,
area.
it's like everything is covered in frog slime. Your feet slide against the floor a little bit.
There's got to be something in all these rooms of treasure that can help with this. I mean, I don't know if he's going to let you rummage through any of this. And I look at her and said, you notice how I said you rummage through this, right?
Right. And we'll be doing it dutifully and with your orb over our shoulder. Tobias. Meanwhile, I saw that,
I know.
GM.
Gao is like, oh. He's like, kind of
I look at Aelia, I'm like, you might want to get your majesty under control.
Yes. And she wanders over to Gao. And while she's wandering over to Gao, says, Tobias, can you detect magic?
No.
Can you go and get our other friend that can?
He can probably actually hear you because like,
Oh, he can. And he's just standing there with a big grin on his face right now, like, oh, it's good to see someone else having to deal with this lot.
Ulfgar's enjoying his day off.
Tobias, can you go get...
Of course.
The stubborn dwarf.
Right.
A couple more people and everybody will be inside. Then we can just close the door and kill the...
Ulfgar puts a hand on Tobias' shoulder and says, you keep an eye on these ones out here. And he just kind of gives him like a serious look, just in case.
They give you a grung glare back. It's not the Nerevar stare, it's the grung glare. Yeah, where is our detect magic guy?
Ulfgar walks in. What can I do for you?
Can you take a little old magical look-see over at those doors over there? There's nothing here.
Aye. And he casts detect magic and starts kind of doing a wander.
Okay. The whole place lights up. Specifically, at first you're like, oh my god, it's an affront to your senses. But when you start looking at it, all of the stuff lights up. Like it's all magical.
Ulfgar says, slight problem. Everything's magical. He focuses in on the doors.
The doors are actually the least magical thing in here.
Says, but the doors don't seem to be as magic as the rest of it.
There does seem to be slight aura coming from them.
What about Yorb?
Yorb is not magical.
Just making sure.
It's like if you were in Star Trek, you were holding up a tricorder to you. He's like, what is going on?
Yeah, then just...
Yeah, you're gonna...
No. I was just
damn it.
I'm not gonna poke the chieftain.
You're not gonna touch the grung. You touched the grung.
Ulfgar says, do you want me to try to open the door?
You can try. Me and Valia gave it a shot. We didn't do too well. It's slippery over there.
He says, let me give it a try.
You just see me every now and then. I'm just staring at it, and then I'll push it again. It does nothing.
He walks up to the door. He says, you might want to cover your ears. and he tips his hands over sideways on the doors, and he goes, "Hame Kame Ha!" And he he casts knock.
Ah, yes, okay. Yeah, the doors move open a little bit.
And a very loud, ear-shattering noise happens when he does it.
At first, Yorb is like, "Ugh, that hurt my ears." Little froggy ears. But then when he sees the doors are open, he hops over and he's ready to push people out of the way. But actually,
Ulfgar was probably up there.
Yeah, where are you? Okay.
He would have been he wouldn't have had Valia in the way of the doors. He would have lined himself up in the middle, so he would have been like that, I guess. If that makes sense. So he could put his hands on both doors when he did it.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
So is Yorb gonna try and squeeze past?
Yep. Hey, would you guys try and stop him, or?
Well, I don't. He's not going to understand me, so I don't know what I see in there either.
I'll just tell him, I'm like, whoa, be careful. We've come across many traps in these places. You've never been in here before. You might want to be careful. So would you rather send somebody in first to get hurt before you?
Yorb is looking at you blankly. Oh wait, you still have to speak with that. Okay. Sorry.
Ulfgar actually would understand you, and he'd say, "Well, I wouldn't mind if he set any traps off, but I don't think the rest would see kindly."
Yorb says,
"Yeah, I'm like, I don't either."
Yorb says, "My house."
I said, "Okay, if you get killed, it's not our fault. We just want to make sure you're safe."
We'll try and bust a move in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna squeeze in behind him.
Okay. So you see, in the middle of this dusty room, a stone cube rests on a pedestal carved and painted to resemble a squat humanoid frog. That is this right here. And there is some more random treasure over here.
Why do I feel like this is like Aladdin's lamp?
So Yorb kind of steps up to it and he's kind of peering at it. Let's see, wait, how tall is... Okay, he's small. It's kind of like just above, like just below eye height for him, so he's kind of like peering at it. And it does look like this.
Hey. Hi.
Okay.
Oh, Nang Nang, so adorable.
I just look. I point at it as like, it's Nang Nang, huh?
Oh, he looks, yeah. Nang Nang. He says, she was a grunk, so this is mine.
I said, okay. I said, did they ask you? When we were allowed in, did they tell you what we were looking? And at this time I'm by myself in a room with a grunk.
Ulfgar's right there, just in the next room, watching. He says, our king offered to make a trade for the puzzle cube.
He says,
that's in those bags.
He says, He says, I must test this treasure. I must test these shinies.
I just shake my head. I'm like, oh no, this is gonna go so bad. There was a riddle that we didn't fix, that we didn't solve. This is gonna go bad. I'm just talking to myself.
And
so remember last time I got stuck in a room with somebody.
You mean you don't want to be stuck in a room with Chief Yorb? He's so sexy.
He's got spider bite eyes.
Seriously, just
he oozes charisma.
Hottest
he oozes something
in all the swamp.
He oozes something. I don't think it's quite charisma, but
So he's like, he's looking in the bag and he's looking at this piece of stone, and he's like, and he says to you, looking in the bag, I must test this treasure. I must test these shinies. And he kind of closes the bag up and he comes like leaping out of the room.
Boing.
He kind of leaps past you guys.
Boing.
Leaps to the front door.
Boing.
I'm so
And
tempted. Like, so tempted. I tell Ulfgar he's gone. The box is here.
Just wait a
Then he
second.
opens the bag again. Closes it. You may take the stone. He shouts back into the room.
I'm like, I have one foot stuck out towards the door and one hand reached out as far as I can
Ulfgar
so I
says,
can grab it and try to run through.
Ulfgar says, let me
Nope,
just
too
rage
late.
hand it.
I grabbed it right through.
Yeah, you grab it and you're kind of like, oh god, what's gonna happen? And you like just peg it for the door, and nothing happens.
I get out and I'm like, I made it. Let's go.
So
I walk over to Aelia and I'm like, here, and I'm like, can you put this with the rest of them in your...
Yeah. She takes the puzzle box from Valia and puts it in one of her saddlebags.
I told her there was treasure and I was alone, but I didn't touch it.
She leans into Valia and then leans back to... leans into Valia and looks towards Yorb and says, I don't think any of this treasure is real.
I don't think it is either. I was like, I'll tell her, I'm going to be like, the ones in there just looked really weird. So I think we should probably leave while he's happy with what we gave him.
Great. Your Majesty Gao, we can leave now.
Gao is like, got a handful of coin and he's just like tucking it in his pocket.
Your Majesty Gao, that wasn't part of the deal.
Here, I'll reach in my bag and I'll have a handful of coin. I'm like, put those back and you can have these.
I could have both, he says. I am King
No.
Gao. I am King Gao.
You should not have both. If you want to live and not have the frogmen eat you or me, you should put those back and have these, and then we go. And there's more. I'll give you some more when we leave.
He says, we could just murder the frogmen. Take the treasure for ourselves.
Your Majesty, you know that I don't agree with her that often, but I agree with her this time. I think you should take her offer. I'll even throw in a gem myself.
Ulfgar speaks up and says, by the way, my magic's revealed that this entire treasure is cursed should it leave those doors. Whoever leaves with it dies painfully.
Gao empties his pocket. Okay, I accept your humble gift.
Looks to Ulfgar and nods and gives the traditional Centaur thumbs up.
I'm just like, all right. I'm like, okay, everybody, let's go.
Okay. Alright, so you make your way out of the temple. You see Yorb is still kind of like looking at the treasure. Then he looks at you like giving this weird ass grin, like he knows something you don't kind of thing, as you guys are walking out. Very smug grung. He does kind of shout ahead to his warriors as you pass, and they kind of relax their stance a little bit as you pass between them.
Rorax, let's go. Come on.
There's still a very chill Hadrosaur waiting over here. Just completely chillax Dino. So everybody kind of makes their way out. Oh, I got you. Okay. And the grung, they don't attack. They don't really they don't try to stop you. Nobody else says anything to you.
Inside check, because Tobias don't really like this. It's went too well.
Okay. Go for it. You get the feeling that Chief Yorb really thinks he's got the upper hand here, and that he knows something that you don't, and that he's just cheated you.
Can I walk over here and can I ask this dinosaur if he likes living with these frogmen?
Orvex, move your arse.
Come on.
Oh, sorry.
Rorax,
Dino says, yes, good food. They feed me well.
Okay, well that's good. If they don't, you should eat them all, or have your friend find a friend to eat them if they ever cheat you. They're not just go on.
He says, eating them sounds gross. They're slimy and meaty.
Orvex, come here a second. I need you to tell Chieftain Yorb that King Gao has asked we bestow one last gift upon him.
Orvex translates that for you.
And Ulfgar casts Shield of Faith on Yorb, which actually makes him slightly glimmer and glow.
Okay. When Yorb sees you casting, he gets really defensive, and he shouts out to his warriors, and his warriors pull their spears out and aim. Oh wait, hang on. Do they have spears? They pull their weapons out and aim them at you. Do you continue casting?
No, I'd stop. I'd say.
Oh, they have daggers.
He'd just hold his hands up and stop.
Okay. There's yelling from Chief Yorb, and Orvex says, I think we should leave now.
I just laugh really loud. I'm like, it wasn't me this time, and I just keep going.
Okay. All right. Unless there's anything else you guys want to do at this shrine, I'm going to move you back to the main map. Okay.
Do we still
Aelia, once Valia approaches, Aelia will just embrace Valia in a big hug and say, thank you so much.
We did it! Yay.
I see this awkward arms out, and I'm like, what is this?
What is happening to me?
I see this happen, and I'm just like, what did you guys do?
Ulfgar says, they've been cursed to get along.
I just go, I was like, Aelia, you smell like frogmen.
Is that puzzle cube still real? Is that an illusion? Did it go poof?
Aelia checks the saddlebag with the puzzle box.
Yep, still there.
No, it's gone. It's terrible. How terrible. And she's yelling loudly so that Yorb can hear. Maybe not understand, but maybe he gets the gist that aha, I did get them.
You really need to work on your performance skills.
Listen.
I just shake my head. I'm like, let's get out of here. We can discuss this later. I don't want to be here no more. We stink like frog.
Alright, so there you stand.
It's so slimy in there.
It was very slimy in there. So there you stand in front of the shrine, the grung behind you. Where are you headed next?
I'll ask Zagmara, I guess. I'm like, hey, where do you suggest we should go? The Hole of Doom? And I just giggle.
She says no. She says, I think before we try to infiltrate that particular area, we should at least attempt to finish collecting these puzzle stones. She says they're at this point the bane of my existence.
Ulfgar says, how many more do you need?
And more important, do you care to explain what are those for?
Aelia will pipe up. Keys to a lock, I presume.
She kind of looks at you, Aelia, and gives you a nod.
The question is, for a box or for a prison?
So how many more did you need? He'll repeat.
How many do we have? And Aelia looks in the saddlebags.
You have 5 now.
We have 5, Ulfgar.
Ulfgar just kind of like puts his
How
hand on
many?
his forehead and says, "You guys, I
How many are there total?
I was talking to Zagmira for frack's sake."
Ulfgar's getting spicy.
I assume 9.
Yeah, Aelia butts in with Kellisto and says 9?
9? Okay, we're just like ignoring off guard. So we need 4 more. 4. I hold up my claws and I'm like looking at them like I just hold them all out. 4 more.
Zagmira will interrupt and say, well, 2 of those have already been collected.
So 2 more. That's awesome. Let's go get
I
them.
hold up my hands again. 2 more.
Well, we only know where one might
Which
be.
ones are we missing? You said you knew where the last 2 shrines were.
She said,
One here.
she says, well, to miss one, you'd have to be a fool. And she does indicate the one that Vallen is pinging. She says, and the last one, she says, I've been, she says, least excited about retrieving because it is in the north west corner of the city.
So somewhere up here.
Yes.
Oh, where the dinosaur is.
Aye.
Well, we knew
We
we
should
were
do that
gonna have
last.
to come across it eventually.
Well, apparently the key, or the door that these keys unlock, is in the same location as those that we're trying to save. So they may be behind this locked door.
Well, we better get a move on then.
Why?
Which one first? Dinosaur or Vlava?
She said, Zagmira pipes up and says, well, technically that's not true, Ulfgar.
He cocks his head. Come on then.
She says, the entrance to the tomb, she says, is not in the Yuan-Ti's city. Well, she says city is like overstating it quite a bit, but is not in their settlement below the ground.
But I thought you'd said that it was.
She says, nope, you did that all by yourself.
Is it in the central palace then?
She says, I would rather share this information when we have all of the cubes so that I can preserve my life a little longer, perhaps.
We've allied forces.
That's
I think
not good.
you said that we could speak freely amongst each other then.
She says, well, she says, I'm also saving the puzzle cube in the northwest for last because it's close to the entrance to the tomb. She says, I can guide us to the exact location when we have all of the cubes.
I was like, hold on, can we go back to that last statement you said? You want to preserve your life? That's not a good...
She says, all I mean is
Are you-
that I don't trust you yet, as I'm sure you don't trust me.
Oh no, we
don't know.
But
So
I mean, we've already come across one crazy red wizard. We don't need another. You seem more grounded than the last. A little more. Well, I guess there's no arguing about it now. We just need to get on our way. Standing here in the open's probably not a good idea.
No. Ulfgar gives a wave to a rock up on the wall.
Arokh waves back.
You hear a collective cowering behind you from the grung.
I'm like, well, let's head to the next place and we'll discuss things on the way. Who knows what? We're going to get sidetracked.
Arokh the Terrible, as far as the grungs are concerned. Alright.
All right.
So, what's the plan?
Are we finally going to the lava place? We should go to the lava place.
We finally go into the lava place. And I
Yeah.
also just noticed that, like, we can actually continue there south. Because that's a cliff face over the top of the city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, like this bit right here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, so you could kind
There's grass under there.
There is.
I don't know about the rest of you. I don't want to go to the lava place. I'd rather go to the temple that's suspended well above the lava. Not the lava place. I have a problem with going in lava.
Aelia, as she usually does, starts trotting off without command and going south.
I'm just going to follow.
Okay.
Like I had the choice.
Alright, so you're kind of cutting around the outside of the palace area?
Yeah.
Okay. So you get to here and you do see who has the highest passive perception again?
Me, 18.
So you see a figure kind of moving quickly on the rooftops over here.
Might it be our feline friend?
You might be.
Do I think it could be?
Yes, you definitely think it could be.
Hey, there's bag of bolts up
make
there.
sense. Back up. Back up nails. BOG.
I thought he was using a crossbow or something. Whatever. Uses bolts. Bag of arrows. There you go. Quiver cat. He's up there.
Quiver cat.
Just be aware. And he says, keep your head down, Zegmira.
You should
Oh,
broadcast.
yeah, he had a thing about red wizards, didn't he?
Did he? I can't remember. I'm still mad about him.
He thought they were tasty.
Yeah, like I think he got attacked by. He took out a couple of them when I had the fight with the snake folk.
Excuse me.
So I think he has a thing about them or something like that. I don't know. I thought I had it in my notes. But anyway, I'm like, yeah, well, if we see him, hopefully he'll recognize us before he starts shooting at us again.
Hopefully.
Good luck with that.
Okay. So you make your way over past that area. Are you going kind of up on the causeway, or are you going to kind of try and go around, or?
Let's go right over.
Okay. So you get a good view of the city as you kind of standing up on the causeway. Good view of the immediate area. Yeah, it looks very much how you left it a couple of days ago before you headed on some crazy quest through the water with playing with crocodiles. So you get to the edge here and you're standing looking at a column of rock that rises about 200 feet above the lava. And you can see sitting on top of the column is... don't do it like that. That's cheating. is
you said about
a walled ruin overgrown with palm trees.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you see.
Right, well, we tried. Shall we go to the other one then?
Well, I had some ideas about this I've mentioned multiple times.
What's that?
Well, obviously Tobias could get a rock to take him over there, but for the rest of you, I was thinking of turning into a giant wolf spider and trying to make like a bridge with the webbing that I could carry you over on.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. How could I not let that happen?
And we're all stuck in the web for a while. It takes us like 24 hours to get out.
I mean, no, I didn't think about that part at all. Definitely not.
Well, here's the question. Is there actually lava down here between these two spaces? Is it just collapsed stone, or is there actually lava down here?
Yeah, I mean, there is a bit of collapsed stone, as you can see, like right here, where a certain grung landed with with Arokh a while ago.
Ulfgar would say, well, let's just make sure that wherever you make that bridge, if you're making that, that directly below is a safe landing point, as I can always try casting a bit of Featherfall on people, just in case something goes awry.
I'm okay with this.
The other thing before you just start escorting folks across is we don't know what's over there. We don't know what's living there.
It's not a frog. I'm good.
I mean, the best thing we have that can fly by and pass over to sea would be Arokh, if he's willing to.
Everyone suddenly looks at Tobias and Arokh.
I mean, Arokh could just be like, I'm tired of y'all's crap. Bye.
I suppose I will start charging you for the rides.
Yay, dragon ride!
So I think they want you to just do a flyby, see if you see anything.
Yeah, that's mainly what I'm not asking for you guys to hop on your back and go across or whatever. More so, could you do a close flyby to see if you might be able to see anything living there that, may or may not attack us when we try to cross.
Yeah, I might be able to move someone across, but he's started looking at Aelia. But unfortunately, not everyone.
I can stay here. I feel like I've solved most of these puzzles, so I can take a break.
And I really think that my web solution will work. I can get the rest of the people across, including Aelia.
I see it now. She's like building the Golden Gate Bridge with her little butt rope.
Butt rope.
And you put it that way, I think I'd just rather a rock drop me from a high height.
Come on! Don't you want to walk on Callisto's butt rope?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure a rock's like, can do. If I had thumbs, I'd give you 2 thumbs up.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
So how far can you shoot that stuff?
I don't know. What I was thinking was, I guess it doesn't really say from what I can tell, but if it's not far enough, I can easily, I think, as a spider, crawl down, go down to the bottom and then get myself back up to the other side.
Yeah, you think as a giant wolf spider, you can definitely like climb on surfaces of any like orientation, upside down, up the wall, whatever. You can climb on that stuff. So you feel like it would be kind of awkward, but you do think you could carry Aelia in this manner. Maybe some kind of like rope would be, needed just to
My
make
butt
sure.
rope.
Your butt rope.
She comes fully equipped.
Butt rope for the win.
She's not
Yeah,
the basic
so I
model.
think I can either, crawl up, either do a bridge with the stuff, or I can basically, probably as a wolf spider, carry people one at a time, whichever is preferred. But I think that the bridge, even if I have to carry people on my back on the bridge, would be the best bet. I just have to build it.
Well, I guess my question is, how do you get a rope across there to start?
You feel like, Kellisto, as a giant wolf spider, you could probably jump pretty good.
Yeah. Or climb down and then climb back up.
Yep.
Either way, I think I can do it.
Yep.
Well, yeah, but you'd have to get the rope across first. I mean, even if you got to the other side.
Oh, not
She'll
me.
attach
Not
it
as
to
a...
one side.
I'm a wolf spider. I can do whatever.
I'm invincible.
So I kind of look at you and I'm like, I'll just go do it. And I just turn into a wolf spider.
If you jump across now, I can cast Featherfall on you, and maybe you'll make it. Just leave a bit of butt rope here. So stick it to some of these stones or something so you can get back across. Continue making your bridge.
Okay. So I'm going to attempt to... Actually, I think what I am going to do is start the webbing a little bit on the one side where everyone is. And then I am going to just basically go down to the bottom. And then climb myself back up to the top of the tower.
Do you have a couple of kilometers of webbing?
It's only like about a 200-foot drop, she said.
Oh, okay. Do you have 200 feet of webbing?
I don't know.
The correct,
I assume so.
The correct term is butt rope.
Well, yeah.
Oh, sorry, butt
I mean-
rope.
Can spiders shoot web like across 200?
Some can.
Go web.
I could try that first.
I don't know whether a wolf spider is a shooter, though. Let me look that up.
While that's going on, I'm gonna say, Arokh, I know we had our differences, but could you just pick me up and take me, and we'll see if we can see anybody on this thing before she hops over and gets attacked by anything? Or even if Tobias wants to go.
Are you scared?
No, I just want to know if there's anything over there that might attack her when she hops across. I mean, if you feel so inclined to leave me on the roof of the thing, then that's fine too, but...
I'm afraid to say it's even worse.
Because he would actually drop me off and leave me on the roof.
No, regarding the wolf spider.
Oh, yeah.
It's even
Wolf
worse.
spiders do not spin webs.
There.
Oh, yeah.
That's
yeah,
right.
They are nocturnal ground hunters.
They have butt rope. Big difference.
They do not have butt rope. No butt rope.
Butt rope denied.
There
Do they
goes
have
that.
special powers in the book that allows them webbing or anything? I'm curious now.
They can move on web, and they have like the web
Yeah.
sense stuff.
They
But
have web movement, but that's it.
I think I would allow like, because I mean this is D&D universe, right? So I would.
How dare you?
Wait, hang on. It does say wolf spiders carry their egg sacs by attaching them to their spinnerets. So, if you wanted to carry somebody, I would give you enough butt rope to... Sorry, it's really difficult. Sorry, it just all devolves. Stop.
She's going to share a video with you guys after this. You know this, right? Okay, so...
I give you enough.
No, just no.
We broke the GM.
Oh, God.
It's finally happened.
No.
She's gone nuts.
You just imagining somebody attached to a spider's ass.
No, Ulfgar is not a good candidate for being attached with butt
You
rope.
can have enough webbing to attach somebody to yourself. Oh my god.
Take the bird.
So if you want to like stick somebody to yourself with your webbing, I can't say it anymore, otherwise it's just I'm not going to be able to talk. Then you can stick somebody to you, but you definitely wouldn't have enough to go across the gap. Oh my gosh.
Well, I have one more thought. Let me just check something really quick.
I have an explorer's pack with rope. I mean, it's only, 150 feet, I believe? Players can't look here.
I can easily carry the rope over there and you guys could, like, kind of go across on the...
Zagmira, have you got any magic tricks that can help so we don't have to use the butt rope?
The only concern is that we need to somehow transport Aelia from point A to point B.
Oh, I can stay here, Tobias. That's quite alright.
Well,
I'm going to take a break.
That's what I'm saying. If you want to go earlier, Kellisto could stick you to her spider body and then climb.
I'm just trying to imagine how that would work with a centaur.
Stuck to a giant spider. Yep. That's about how it works.
Feasibly, you could ride a horse as a centaur. So, hey.
There's something very wrong with
Well,
that.
the mechanics allow it, whether they should is another thing.
You just need to strap 4 grung to your hooves. Woo!
Oh my god.
Just 4 horses with a horse person in the middle.
Oh god.
Okay.
Surrealist.
Well,
What you got, Callisto?
I think that since I cannot do the webbing, that I will just take over. I will have to leave Aelia behind, but I'll take everyone else over. Except Tobias, he can get his own ride.
Darn, Skippy.
How about Valia?
Yeah, I'll take Valia.
What about,
I'm all for being flown across and dropped on the sea of the roof.
what about Zagmira? Does Zagmira have any options or things that she can help
That's
with?
a good question. I think
She's like,
Zagmira's
I can just cast flight on everybody.
No, but I think Zagmira has her own. I just need to look one thing up about the distance of a thing that Zagmira can do.
All the red mages can do. Excuse me. That jerk. Don't let Aelia know I think he's a jerk.
Does she have fabricate?
She does not. And actually she says, she looks at the distance of the gap and says, oh yeah, I think I might need a ride too. Oh, wait, no. Never mind. She does not need a ride.
Could she help the rest of us not need a ride?
Hang on. One moment, caller. She says, she says, I can't help everyone. She's like, but I can help one person. If nobody else wants that help, then I'll.
Tobias is pointing at Aelia.
I've got an idea. Remember those
Tobias,
goblins?
I am not your puzzle-solving machine, okay?
Remember the goblin city we came across? Now they had, look at the size of this tree, right? And then we could just kind of
Absolute unit.
pull it back. And then we just, whoo! Just like them goblins.
So, Zagmira looks at you, Aelia, and says, I could give you the power of flight to get across there. But I can only give that to one person. So if you want to join us, you are more than welcome to take that. And perhaps this kindly gentleman, she kind of gestures to Arokh. She's not quite sure. She's like stumbling over what to call Arokh. Perhaps this kindly gentleman can give me a ride across the gap.
As much as I appreciate the offer to temporarily ascend to being a Pegator, I'm going to set this one out. I'm going to let them solve this one. I'm going to commune with my ancestors.
Fair enough, she says. In that case, I might save my spell. I think that is a wise decision. If we have the means to travel there without using a spell, we should certainly do so.
Yeah, I can start ferrying people.
Does this mean I get to ride on the back of a giant wolf spider?
Unless you
are
want to ride on my butt
attached to
sack.
the back of a giant spider
Alright, so who's doing
via
what?
butt rope.
I'm going butt rope method. Via butt rope.
Okay, so Ulfgar, do you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay. So, so Kellisto, you just like go web at Ulfgar and webbing Ulfgar.
Yeah, and I'll put him in my sack.
So it's like that scene in Lord of the Rings, you know, where Shelob like stabs Frodo and like wraps him, like it's kind of like that, except Ulfgar is willing, so he gets webbed and then kind of wrapped a little bit. Ulfgar, you've got this giant spider like wrapping you in webbing.
Yep.
And then you get kind of like
Just make sure my hands are free and my mouth is free, or else we fall. I can't do much.
Well, Kellisto kind of draws you in with her web, and you get stuck to Callisto's kind of the back of Callisto's lower abdomen. So you've got a great view. Right now you're just kind of looking up at the sky. There's not like, you do have your hands free, but there's not much you can do.
This isn't the battle charge I was expecting.
So Kellisto, are you off then?
I am.
As they're going down, he's like, this is actually a little bit embarrassing.
So the rest of the group watches slightly horrified as Ulfgar gets like, you know, webbed to the back of Kellisto, and then Kellisto, without a word, obviously because she's a spider, just like over the edge of the cliff. And Ulfgar, you are now kind of actually upside down, so like suddenly your beard is like in your face and you can't really see what's going on because you tipped like the wrong way up, and hope you didn't have anything valuable in your pockets because that might fall out, although they're webbed, so maybe not. But you're going downhill, like, and it's not a hill, it's a cliff, so.
Prestidigitation my beard out the way.
And you do notice that the temperature is rising, and it's getting quite warm as you
Are
get
these webs still going to hold
down,
in the heat? He says
down
out loud.
closer to the lava. Kellisto is getting quite warm under your feet. And you're getting down to the bottom of this kind of rocky area. and that's where we're going to leave it. Yep. I think that's a
Alright,
More
perfect
so
time
spot.
to
don't
plan
you
out
do?
our deaths.
Lavasaurus.
I desperately need to see some art of a dwarf stuck to a giant spider's back with web. It's a thing that needs to happen.
All right. Well, thanks everybody again for coming out, players and viewers alike. And are we gaming next Sunday?
I think next Sunday is Mother's Day, right, in the US?
Mm-hmm.
So I think
Correct.
we will be passing on next Sunday and pick it up the Sunday after that.
All right. So stick around, people, and we'll see you the time after next.
In 2 weeks.
Bye.